All right, guys. Sorry I was getting all that set up. All right, so let's get all of this set up. Try to get out there. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm just trying to get all this set up. I don't normally stream on YouTube live, so it's a little wonky for me right now. All right, so we're trying to trade Sol today, guys. Solana. I haven't traded Solana a lot. I've been messing with it. And we'll just see what happens with it, right? Let me get chat up. See, this is different for me, so I couldn't even see some of you guys were saying stuff. All right, we're up and off to the races now, guys. So let's get our setups going. As usual, we're using the triple exponential moving averages, for my personal squeeze momentum setup. Let's get our 20 candles going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Boop. Well, that doesn't look right. There it is. You can see we just had a big, long short that we missed while I was setting all of this up. All right, so guys, let's see here. So now we're gonna, because I'm just learning this, we're only gonna go with like a 50x leverage. So I always like to set my trades up in USDT, and let's see, we're at 363, so we're going for a $36 margin. So what's that gonna be? 2,000 more? 2,000. All right, we'll just go with the $2,000 call. All right, so now the other one's way up there. And do I want to be lazy? I'll just grab it real quick. Let's set up at the top and the bottom of our 20 candle moving average. There we are. Now we got all this fun stuff showing up. Now you guys see what it really happens when you gotta trade all this stuff. I lied to myself there. I like the price labels on these because it lets me know my ceiling. These I don't need to see. Okay. I don't need to see any of these either. Just makes my stuff too cluttered. So I always pull these things off. Where's my last one? Alright, I don't need to see, I don't need all those price. I like to know, we're having a breakout down here. So I like to know my tops and bottoms. That's about it, right? Remember, this is our moving line of support and resistance right now because we are in a short scenario. The red line is on top of both the gold and the green. Gold underneath red, we're taking shorts. Green on top, gold above green, we're taking longs. But again, we're in the middle of a price action. So we're not doing anything. We have 8 seconds left to see what happens. We're obviously going to print below this. We could be crazy, right? And if it prints below this, we'll move it here. Looks like it's retracing slightly, though. See, our squeeze is happening down, though, as we know. So another squeeze is about to happen. Let's just see what happens. Let's open a short. This is a very bad thing to do. I'm opening a short in the middle of a price action, but this can help teach either way. We know that we're right here. We're going to hit a stall. And in 3 minutes, that momentum and squeeze is going to push this down. I don't know much about Sol as far as keeping up with the numbers. I don't know if this is trading at the top or the bottom. I know that 150 seems like an average number for Sol. Like I said, someone needed some clarity, so I've told them I'd hop on and we would start streaming and see what happens. See, look at that. We took our call way down here. Should have taken it closer. I don't know what happened. I must have not been watching the order book, and we took I mean, that's brutal. I know I took that call like up here. I don't know why it placed so low. That's real rough to have to recover that. But that's what happens. You have to watch the order book. If the order book has low sell orders, you're going to take a bigger bump into your profit. If it has more sell orders and you're taking shorts like the reds over here, that's when to take your sell, your short. If it's taking a long and the greens over here, you want to watch this order book. This sucks, right? And you can see, it's trying to retrace. It's trying to rally, but it's deep. But this is what I told you guys not to do, right? Remember, I said don't do this, and that's why I took it for a low leverage, because we'll lose a little money, and it won't hurt no one's feelings. But I'm gonna lose this whole. You understand? I lose that plus whatever this is in the red, because the margin's gone once you place the call. Okay, I'm not sure where that came from, but I'll take it. Mm, just might close that. Now we can all see why you don't do that, right? I don't know. We're just gonna. I don't know if we're gonna close it or not. I don't like to take multiple positions. I could just leave it open. It's gonna eventually rally down. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to decide what we're doing. We're still deep below this. It could bounce up and still come right back down. Cause look, see, I was busy pondering, and the price action squeezed us. This comes down a little. It's only down for a long time, right? The price action is only going down. So we might go ahead and recover that loss. We'll see what happens, boys. All right. Very interesting. Well, we're getting just, it looks like it might be trying to establish a little sideways, little crab walk here. You can see these have not had a lot of action, but up here, we had a big long dip that came down. This is not good. See how these are starting to touch? And we didn't bring these to the front either. Where are we? Bring the front. Bring the front. See, this is a new chart I had to set up because we don't normally play with these. Which means I also have to take the candles, which I didn't do before, and lower their opacity. I usually like around 60% for both of them. Lets me see the indicators through them. See, there we go. Now see, they're recovering here. It's trying to retest. See, it retested this moving line, which is acting as resistance now. It hit it, and it pushed it back down. It's going to try again. Our squeeze is still happening down, But you can see the order book over here has been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I could leave this open, but for the sake of clean stuff, we'll just close this, take this little loss. It doesn't really matter at all. And we'll just see what happens. That was a small loss to take. And it helped me illustrate the point that I always tell you guys, that you don't get in the middle of price action, right? This is starting to recover. We're starting to see the shift here with the, oh, look at that. We broke above gold, above green, above midline. I want to take a long here real bad. Question is, do we? Because we didn't print next. See, that would be almost like, oh, it's everything's right. But the market's always going to retest. Sometimes this retest isn't just a retest, it resets the trend back down because our squeeze is still happening down. But this long candle put a break on the squeeze. The new ceiling is going to reestablish right here in a few candles, right? Spook. We can't lower any further than this candle, right? So it set the trend now that the trend of momentum is going to be going back up sooner than later. It's going to hold in this level right here. That's a pretty strong candle. We're going to see what this action does. We have gold above green above the midline. But we want this candle. See, now we're getting far. See, it's a good retest, but the farther this gap establishes, the more the trend is setting up. Let's go ahead and take a whoa. I just don't like what we're seeing here. We did print above the midline once, which means we are establishing a new trend. See, we were printing under the midline, and now we're printing above the midline, which means I might be able to take a long at the bottom of this candle, and then the market will push back up a little bit. We can take some small profit. 50x, I don't even know what we're going to have to do to recover that. I like trading with 500x. But we're learning, so I always trade with small leverage when we're learning. 13 seconds. It's trending up. That wicked all the way back. Now see how high above that took, because this order book, again, I did that just to illustrate my point. I put the position right here at this candle at 151.18. It didn't fill it all the way up here, which you don't think matters, but it sure does. Again, because the order book is back and forth, back and forth. But we have a decent gap. Hopefully we can establish a trend. I'm just kind of trading a little recklessly because the margins are low. And I'm just trying to learn what the market does. And sometimes I hate just staring at candles print, and I like to just get in and lose some money, make some money, but just do something. And then I can, get a feel for what's going on. Because the Asian market's live right now, right? Just went live a little bit ago. Just went live at 8:30. So 20 minutes ago, the Asian markets went live. So the market's always bouncy. And the fact is that these low leverages, I could leave the position open. It would get confusing for this video, so I just closed it. But I could just leave it open, let the market eventually retest that and make a small profit. But for the sake of being live, we'll just keep one position open at a time. And I am trading recklessly. Normally, I let trends clearly establish. But like I said, an establishment for this was we printed above the midline. This candle threw up. We printed up here. Red candle, red candle, red candle. So normally the confirmation would be this candle shot up above the moving line of resistance. This printed above that, right? This moved above this, but the confirmation candle in this case was not a print above it. I just want everyone to be clear. We were looking for a green candle, a printed green candle. a printed green candle would have established trend and direction, and that would have been the correct indicator to wait on, the correct confirmation candle to get in on our position, because we see that it rallied down. It's retesting this line. Like I said, we could have waited and gotten in here if this trend establishes. All right, but we haven't printed a green candle above this midline yet. Now, if this trade goes bad, I'm going to close the trade, and then we're going to get into some deep technical trades. I won't hop into trades. I'll explain and wait for all the critical signals, but I wanted to do some reckless trading so people can see how quickly you can lose money. Not trading the indicators, being like, oh, I'm going to second guess the market and jump ahead of it, and then the market does this, right? So you always want to be trading the indicators and the candles, right? So see, we pull this down and it stops us there. So see, now the price action is here for the next 10 minutes almost. It's right here before we start to shrink upwards. So now our bounce is happening upwards, and our crab walk went from underneath to above the moving average. This simple moving average is what this line is. But filling market orders is a rough thing. You have to watch what this is doing. See? All right, guys, let's just close this, take these little losses, and let's trade, do some technical trading. So let a few candles play out before we do anything, because like I told you before, if you can get in one good trade, you can get in another good trade, and we're just going to sit here and watch. All right, chat, we're just going to see what happens. Yeah. So see, it's just gonna mess around. Now I also like BNB, so maybe we'll explore that. I was only trading Bitcoin basically ever. I'm just trying to branch out into some other stuff, and like I said, I'm not using any of the indicators that throw the buy and sell signals, because this is through BTCC directly. So none of my trading view stuff is in here, right? We're just doing straight technical trading here. Straight technical trading. I know some guys that trade off the order book. I've seen some hilarious trades off order books. Like, you see how it's pushing red? So they'll take a quick short, boop, because the order book's pushing red, so shorts are cheap. And they'll assume that, you don't know where these orders are coming from, right? Dark pools, bots. Who knows in the long run where all of this order book's being pushed from? I mean, it's BTC's book, but right here we were saying we wanted to take a short. Okay, let's just right here at this line at what, 151.06. Let's put a little wonky line here at 151.06, and let's see if we were playing the order book game. I'm trying to make this fun for everybody, right? Let's just see what happens. We are taking the order book game. Let's just call it right there, okay? And we'll call this line yellow. And we'll just see what would have happened if we were strictly placing longs or shorts based on the momentum of this order book alone. Like I said, these are low leverage calls, so it's like, ugh, I hate low leverage. Leverage makes capital more efficient. I want to trade 500x, but I don't know enough about Sol. I know enough about trading, but every coin trade's different. Like I know the waves of Bitcoin. I know that coin's rhythm, right? Like where I can be risky and where I can't be risky. I don't know Solana like that. And it will hurt me in the long run to try to play those games. So we're just going to strictly trade on technical indicators. A lot of guys that trade these long, they'll trade these low leverage positions, right? Maybe 1x, 10x, but they'll trade days, right? Knowing that the price, will bounce between a certain, you know, range if you zoom out for the month, right, or for the week, and they'll play these long games. I trade, several times per day when I trade. So I like to get in, get out with my profit, have everything liquid, have all my funds movable. See, I told you that it would stall this price action for the next little bit because of that candle, remember? And because of these candles, it just stopped it dead, made all these candles irrelevant. None of these candles essentially mattered because the gap we're trading in was not going to move, like I said, for like 10 minutes or so. Just it bricked it. None of this mattered, right? The momentum that was established got erased. This reset the new trading range, and now we're crab walking here. And you can see it's still playing around where we took that, hypothetical short. I mean, this is it, guys. This is as exciting as trading gets, right? We're just watching candles print, looking for the money. All right, there we go. Now we'll see how far this really gets, what kind of profit could have been had playing this order book game. Now, like I said, I know guys that play like that, and they play multiple positions. And they might be on this short and then see the order book spike long down here, and then take another long and wait for it to recover up. I don't like, but look at that, right? I have no idea what the 1RR or 0.5RR would be here with this low leverage. But that's a decent little wick down, right? And we have another crossover here indicating the market's fighting, right? Again, you can see the order books back and forth hard in both directions. But look at this, playing the order book, right? I don't know why it works. I know guys that's how they trade. I think it's reckless as hell, but maybe we're on to something. I probably would have gotten out of this with some profits. I don't know. Like I said, this is scary. I know we're not even in an actual order right now, but it's like crazy. So if we got out down here, I don't know what this would be, right? What's this profit line? Is that even $1? We're at 106. So 151.06. Where's 150.06? Dude, I have no idea. This is crazy. I don't understand. We're gonna have to really. I'm just gonna have to really mess around with some trades and possibly lose some money, or I don't know. But this thing, we would still be. I don't know. This is. It's like I'm saying. These are small amounts of money to be moving. So I think the leverage is even more important here with Solana. That's crazy. That this we took this short up here. All right, and we're still going. But like I said, I don't have any idea what dictates when or not to play this order book game. Like, it's so back and forth so quickly. I don't like to trade like that, right? Now, the indicators here, though, let's go back to, sorry, what we were actually doing and talk shop. We had this candle print red. This candle, look, we had action that came back below the simple moving average, okay? We had a candle dip below it, and then we had the gold line break under the red line, and then we had a candle print in the direction of that trend, which was down, okay? And then we had another red candle. So now the trend is established as back down, okay? Let's get rid of this. This was just for shits and giggles. But this is what we were looking for up here if we were technically trading. This right here was the indicator that showed the trend was coming, the change was coming. This showed it too. This confirmed we printed down. We printed a red candle down. And then again we wigged down. We'd get in here. I don't know how long this is going to last. We should have gotten in at this candle. All right, we would have been in our price action already. The squeeze here is for a minute going to push up. Well, actually, no, it won't because this pushed right down. So the squeeze is coming back down now. But again, I don't know Solana ranges or anything, guys. So that's why I figured I would do this live. You can see someone who is an experienced trader, trying to learn. This is what it takes to learn new coins, right? Because I mean, these are small price actions. I almost just want to take like a massive like 500x leverage call. What would that be? 17, yeah. We do 17, 5, 15,000. Wow. See, I'm not upset. I'm not like, oh my god, I missed this. Like, okay, it'll happen again. Uh, we already spent this part of the video trading recklessly, right? The next position I want to get in, I want it to be profitable so I can understand what's happening with how Solana moves. So, this right now is wide open in a downtrend. But like I said, we would have gotten in at this candle. I mean, that's 20 cents, 30 cents. I might not end up trading Solana, right? I'm going to try BNB, but I like Bitcoin because it's worth a lot and the leverage calls, only need to move X amount where you can make a good risk reward. Wow, that candle dipped. Whew. We're deep in this price action. This is a big gap. Well, see, I know guys that only trade these indicators when they had this cross. They don't worry about the candles. Like I've seen guys trade without candles. They strictly only trade these indicators. There's a lot of crazy ways people trade. I really use candles as confirmation for indicator trends, right? Like I said, are we printing down below this. And like I said, guys, I'm not stressing this downward trend at all. It could ride out. We could miss this whole thing. Oh my, you know, this is how trading really is. You gotta just, I don't know how much meat is left on this. This is a very wide gap, which tells me that there is more movement in the downward area. But how much more movement, right? I don't know. It could rally the next candle and start to curve back up, and then I'd crab walk for a few candles. Or could do that, right? This is real brutal price action to be in the middle of. And the gap is growing, and the bigger this gap grows, the more you have to babysit how you're getting in and out of these candles. You like tight gaps so you can play breakouts. Man, they haven't even broken towards each other yet, but I'll get in this trade, and I just don't want to get in. See? And it could still end up down here on this next candle, but we're gonna wait for all the indicators to print the long. And that's the thing. Like, we're live right now. This could take an hour for the market to turn around, but that's the thing. Well, I have multiple monitors. That's how I trade, guys. I'll put this on a monitor, on my biggest monitor off to the side where I can keep an eye on it out of the corner of my eye, and I'll just wait for the price action to adjust. Like, if we weren't talking, I wouldn't have gotten in on any of those trades. We would have gotten in somewhere here. I'd be out, and now we wait. Or if I saw this and missed it, we do the same thing here. We're waiting for the reversal. We're going to wait for this gold to cross over this green, and for them to be trading above this midline, and for a green candle to print above it. Boop, boop. And when, just like here, in reverse, indicator confirmation, it printed it, and then down it went. We would want green. And that's what we're going to wait for. And then we're going to see. I did 500 leverage. Well, there you have it. We're going to see. Oh, well, that feels wild. Feels like I'm being hella crazy. Which means I gotta adjust this. This is why I don't normally trade live, because it's boring. I'm just trying to help provide some insight so that people can see what they're looking for live. We still have a decent gap between these, right? So the gold, especially in the orange. And you can see that, in the next 5 or 6 minutes, the price action is going to go down, 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 unless one of these candles, stops and rallies. We have a reversal, which we'll be watching to get in on. I have no idea how long this has been going. So, what, 30 minutes, 34 minutes? This was my first time trading Sol, so we were all learning together, and we're learning on the Asian market, so lots of curveballs. Not sure if I will keep trading Sol. See a lot of guys throw up these massive P&Ls, because I feel like that's what you need with these little numbers is huge candles on. I'd rather get small candles on Bitcoin that equate to more money than have to wait for these massive movements. But we'll see. I'll take, if we get into a trade here before I end the stream, I'll take like a 200x trade, uh, you know, with all the correct indicators and see, what the movement is needed. Like I have no idea what with these little bitty movements, what my 1RR needs to be. All right, is it a dollar movement, 50 cents, 10 cents, $2? And I'm not sure. We need to find out. But I don't want to find out if I can help it at the cost of just randomly losing money for bad trades just to get into a trade and see. I go demo trading for that, right? And then we can just place all the crap trades we want and find out what happens, which I might do. Right? Real brutal crab walk here at the bottom. Remember, this line down here is acting as our line of support. We had a breakout. This wants to push our price back up. This, when it's underneath here, wants to act as the second line, as I guess the first line of resistance. When it bounces off the line of support and travels up and hits this wants to push it back down. So when it breaks through here, that's a confirmation of a trend confirmation, right? When a green candle breaks this line and then prints above it, that's confirmation of a trend. A green candle prints, not a red candle prints. A green candle prints, that's confirmation of the trend going this way, and we would immediately take a long, right? And then this acts as a line of support. Then once it breaks up, it comes down here, and this wants to push it back up. Now it's not resisting it, it's supporting it, it's pushing it, boop. And then this comes up and acts as a line of resistance. It wants to resist it going through this, pushes it back down, it hits support. If it comes up, then it's called a breakout. If it comes out down here, that's like this is a breakout, right? And it resets where these ceilings and floors are, widens our trading gap. Generally, a trade is better when you can place a breakout trade. I used to only trade breakouts. Anytime a candle broke this and then printed, I would take a trade in that direction. Now I love that, but I trade more like we were talking about with this moving line of this simple moving average. And you can see right here, it's trying to adjust. The sellers want to keep it down here. The buyers trying to push back. And we're climbing up here to this candle, right? And now we're going to break it. But again, we want to break it and see it print. We're seeing the break happening here. We're seeing the crossover happening. Gold cross green. Green is fighting to cross red. We want to see this candle print. Okay. We want these two above this. Red on the bottom. We want to go red, green, gold. And we want the action happening above this simple moving average. So we're going to see where this candle prints. If it prints above, it's a long, brutal candle, guys. That's mid price action. So we're still going to watch and play according to the candles. Man, that candle printed green and turned quickly, didn't it? I don't like that. That's not a bearish candle. I mean, that's not a bullish candle. It printed and I clicked it and then it's fighting. It's fighting. We're going to see where this goes. But this also helps me see. So what am I? I'm down $3 now on a 200 leverage trade. $6. That candle instantly went bad. I was not a fan of that. And it's wicking down when it's getting ready to close, which means the next candle is probably going to close lower as well. That was a big high candle to come back from. I don't like this. These back and forth candles are not what we want, right? We want to establish a trend. We want a green candle and a green candle. And this is a long gap to make up. I'd almost rather close this position and get back in. But those were not, this candle right here turned bearish indecisive so quickly, and now we're just fighting for, the bull signal. Wonky candle. This order book is just like the gladiator pits. Can't get a good order to feel close to when you're trying to throw them because of this back and forth crap. I'm just gonna close out of this while I can with some profit. I just don't like. I don't think I like Solana. I'm gonna kill the stream here, and we might go back to Bitcoin. I don't like Solana. These are weird movements in small amounts, and I just don't like it. I've only ever traded Bitcoin futures, and I tried other coins and didn't like it. So I think we're gonna go back to Bitcoin. I'll do a stream with BNB, but I don't like this price movement, and I don't like these little bits and amounts. It throws me off. But all right, guys, you saw, I hope you learned at least like with this. This was a good example of what we were looking for. And again, here, we have a good crossover, right? This is a crossover, and we cross over above the simple moving average, but we have not had a trend confirmation, right? We haven't had multiple green candles in a row. I thought this was going to go green after a trade too early, but this candle printing red and then the green and then red, and then these are indecisive candles, right? So that's what it's doing. It's trying to decide where this price action's going, right? It's trading above, but it's not trading out, right? So I don't know. This would this would not be a confirmation of a trend, right? This let's just review real quick since we're just looking real quick, right? So this crossover and then a red candle through it and a red candle that printed, this is confirmation of a short, right? The trend is down. Okay. Let's look here again. See, we had a crossover here, and then we had a green candle, and then a red candle, and then a red candle, and then a red candle, and then a green candle, and then a green and a red. And it kept going up and down, but wicking down. So the crossover happened right here, right? You can see right there on this candle. And then it printed red. And then it was a ride. You would have had to have held on, but if you did, it was a nice short, right? You could have taken a nice short. Been a lot of down action, not any real up indicators today. Look at this. So we had the red candle break the simple moving average here. Then we had this candle print deep red, right? And this gap grew. So we would have taken a short here. And look, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You would have had to have held on to it. Look for all these candles. See, I don't like to trade long like this. I don't enjoy that. I like to get my profits in a few candles and get out. Right? Most of these signals, when they throw, they're just one big long candle and then a whole bunch of small candles. Like we can keep looking back. So you look at this, we had a crossover, a green that broke the simple moving average. It was trading underneath it. Green candle broke, green candle printed. We had the swap of the green on top of the red and the gold at the top, and then you would have gotten in right here, right here. All right, that was a establishment of a trend, and then look, sideways, 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 up. Up, up, up. That's a good grab right there. But again, we've been in that trade now for 15 minutes, almost 20 minutes. So Sol might not be for me. Like I said, most people I see post Sol trades, they're very deep P&Ls, meaning they held positions for a very long time during the day, right? Which is not how I like to trade. So I don't think Solana is going to be for us per se, for scalping and for these small trades. Maybe not even BNB, right? I think we're just gonna have to stick with scalping Bitcoin. So the next live trade we do will probably be back on Bitcoin. All right, boys, good stuff. We'll get to it next time.